I want in some way, shape, or form a reversal of the summer of Punk this year. I want to see good guy CM Punk trying to save the WWE Championship from bad guy John Cena as he's trying to take it and put it in his own damn fridge, right? Like, I want to see this Twilight Zone version of this story play out.
It writes itself. It's right there for you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it does.
What's up, everybody? Welcome on in to Discussions on the Takedown on SI. I am Zach Cadorn. That's Rick Uccino. Rick, are you having a good week, my friend? You having a good week? How's it going?
It's a busy week. If you've been on the Takedown on SI YouTube channel, you know how busy of a week this has been, especially for the station's video editor, namely myself. As we have dropped interviews with Samoa Joe, with Zach Gowen. Both of those hit ahead of AEW Beach Break on Wednesday, which was a very good show. If you have not checked that out, so go out of your way to do that. Some major setup pieces happening for Double or Nothing here coming up soon, which we'll have a prediction show for that dropping on the channel next week. We also had an interview drop yesterday with Leah Van Dale that you did. You may know her as Carmella. So we caught up with her. And then later today on the channel, we'll be talking with Daria Baronato, who you may know as Sonya Deville. So this has been a very, very busy week for us. All of those videos available here on the Takedown on SI YouTube channel, but all of the written work as well, our fine written work by myself and Zach and John Alba and Ryan Drosty and Joe. I can't pronounce his last name, the new guy on the team. You know, we're all kicking ass. We're doing what we can over on the Takedown on SI. So make sure to check out the website as well.
Check out the website, and that's a reason why you should subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that.
Blake too. I forgot Blake. I knew there was somebody on the team. SB3.
Yes, Blake.
Yes, Blake and SB3 killing it, still getting it with the 10, 20 top wrestlers, murdering it every week. That thing is self-sustaining at this.
He's going to pay him for years.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. But yeah, so subscribe if you haven't, guys, and like the videos and turn on your notifications so you know when we drop something. I think today is a good time to discuss Money in the Bank a little bit, because we've got our qualifiers coming up, man.
It's hard to believe it's that time of the year already.
It's that time. Yeah, right. I mean, June right around the corner, and Money in the Bank is now become like an early June thing, and we're here, and it begs the question, like, who should we kind of be looking at to potentially win the Money in the Bank briefcase on the men's and women's side? Obviously, we know the stakes, right? You win that match, you get a guaranteed title shot for the next 12 months. And I think that, like, this year in particular, with who the champions are, especially on the men's side, with John Cena as a big time world champion on SmackDown, undisputed world champion, I think that leaves open so much potential for arguments and discussions on who the men's winner could be. Because ordinarily you'd give it to maybe like an up and comer, perhaps somebody that's on the rise. But this year, because it's Jay and because it's Cena as your champions, I mean, there's so many people open. Cody's open, Seth's open, Punk's open, Gunther's open, Drew's open, Damian Priest is open, LA Knight. Like, you really have like a very, very big, deep roster of folks that you can choose from on the men's side, because those champions are pretty interesting. So if I were to throw this question to you openly, like, who are you looking at? Who's kind of just piquing your interest in, hey, I'm looking at this guy to potentially win?
So it depends on what WWE's plan is, because June 9th is a very interesting date for me. June 9th is the Monday Night Raw after Money in the Bank. And what has WWE already done? They have already announced that Gunther is going to be facing the winner of Jey Uso and Logan Paul, Saturday night's main event next Saturday on that show. They are also now advertising John Cena for that show. So both world heavyweight champions are going to be on that show. We could potentially get a new champion crowned on that show. Could be an early cash in for the men this year. If that's the direction that they're going, well, then, yeah, field is open as far as I'm concerned. All the guys that you mentioned Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Damian Priest. Interesting, though, all of those guys are right now in the United States title picture. True. At least they were as of Backlash weekend. Of course, we know Jacob Fatu retained thanks to a debuting Jeff Cobb. Maybe Jeff Cobb could be an option. There are a couple of names you didn't mention. Rusev, Aleister Black. If you want to have these guys come in and go, hey, these aren't just going to be mid-card guys anymore. They're going to be future main event guys. Well, hey, Money in the Bank, winning that, there's your ticket right there. It's an instant elevation. Sami Zayn is a very interesting.
That's a guy. He's on my top of my list. I would, that when you say his name, that's the one that I have got on the old notes page right up next to me here is Sami Zayn. Because that not only do I think it's does that intertwine with the broad story they're talking about with him winning the world title, right?
Yeah. That's been a broad story with him for 2 years now. For
2 years, the long-term arc that they have going. But it also directly, potentially involves Jey Uso. It potentially involves and can weave through, the Seth faction and what's going to happen with him and CM Punk. I think it just can touch so many things. Maybe it's a heel turn, down the line with him. So many possibilities with him holding the briefcase, I think. So that I think is one of the most interesting names.
The Triple H, just being the guy who remembers history, is a long gamer, right? If you were going to cash in on Gunther and Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw, June 9th, Sami Zayn's the guy to do it.
Yeah.
You're talking about the two guys, right, that beat Gunther the last 2 WrestleManias, all 3 of those guys being involved in one spot and finally crowning Sami as he beats pins his good buddy Jey Uso to finally win a world championship. Not out of a heel turn. I know we discussed this on an episode last week. We were talking about how we get more heat on Seth's faction, utilizing a Sami Zayn heel turn to do that, because nothing pisses off a crowd more than when you give them what they want, but not in the way that you want it, right? So they do all of this stuff with Sami, and it's just some big ruse to put him over and take the title away from Jey. They could do that, or they could just have a conflicted Sami Zayn have to beat his good buddy Jey, because it was his prime opportunity to win a world championship and finally win a world championship. So I think Sami Zayn is very, very interesting. CM Punk is another interesting name. We're going to talk about John Cena coming up here in a little bit, but I want in some way, shape, or form a reversal of the Summer of Punk this year. Yeah. I want to see good guy CM Punk trying to save the WWE Championship from bad guy John Cena as he's trying to take it and put it in his own damn fridge, right? I want to see this Twilight Zone version of this story play out.
It writes itself. It's right there for you.
Yes. Right. Yes, it does. It just sucks that there's not enough time to do that match at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I know.
Because you want to replay that 2011 Money in the Bank where Cena wins and then he does the blows the kiss to CM Punk and takes the title and runs off with. That's what you want to do. If you could do that at Money in the Bank 2011, that would be poetic, man. Or Money in the Bank this year to play off of what you did in 2011, that would be poetic. But you still got Punk tied up with Seth and Paul and the other guy I have on my list. If you're playing the long game for Money in the Bank, it's Bron Breakker. Yeah. Bron Breakker's the guy.
That's the one. That's the one where he's the long game one, right? He's the one where he takes out Seth next year after WrestleMania or something like that. You go really long term with it. Yeah, which works.
He is the guy. He used that Money in the Bank briefcase to be much like they did with Damian Priest. And I'm not saying that cash-in has to be at WrestleMania, but you could definitely do that. But he's the guy coming out of WrestleMania 42.
Yeah, I think so. And he's definitely the guy where you look and you're like, okay, if we want this to be in our universe and in our storylines for a long time, man, throw it, give it to Bron Breakker and then don't think about it for a while. What about Cody Rhodes though?
Oh, Cody Rhodes, yes.
You got to think he's going to get a rematch for the title at some point.
Yeah.
And does it make sense to just have him as a babyface just win it, call his shot, and that's it. I mean, like,
no, I think he's in it for sure. I think he's in the match, but he's getting screwed out of it. Like this isn't just a simple, oh, I'm going to win Money in the Bank and I got my golden ticket. That's not how Cody Rhodes operates. Cody Rhodes operates by overcoming obstacle after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. Whenever he finally does come back on TV, because he's getting a much deserved break right now. Look, his whole new story arc is working his way back toward John Cena. It's not going to take a whole year like it did with him and Roman Reigns. It's going to happen by the end of the year. I would not be surprised if we don't get that rematch until Boston in December.
I think that's his last match. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, John's last match. But like literally, John goes into it going, hey, Cody, you got to beat me here or the title's gone. Like, I would not be surprised if they gets all the way to that point. Maybe they do it at SummerSlam. Maybe they do it at, Bad Blood or something like that a little bit down the line. I'm not sure what other pay-per-views are on after SummerSlam at this point. But I don't think that that's going to be anything anytime soon. So I think you set up whoever's Cody's next opponent is going to be. I think you set that up at Money in the Bank by whoever decides to screw him over. I have one other name I want to throw at you before we talk about the women real quick.
Okay, throw it out there.
Karrion Kross.
The guy who's just rolling in merch checks.
This dude is on fire right now, which is almost unfathomable considering the amount of television time that he gets, considering how many televised matches he got. I told you how many televised matches he had before we came on and did this.
My jaw hit the floor.
Yeah. Two televised matches.
And one of them was a battle royal.
Both losses. One of them was in a battle royal in his hometown where he got booed out of the building because he got tossed because the crowd was so pissed. I know.
Crazy.
There. You were there. Like, it was like, we're not just making stuff up here. Like, and this hasn't just been, oh, well, it was Vegas, right? Like, Karrion's from Vegas, so it was the Vegas thing. No. The crowds continue to cheer this man as they are going along because of the work that he's been doing on social media. And now his popularity has gotten to the point. He made the announcement on social media yesterday that they are now going to start putting his shirts in arenas because people want to buy them at shows.
Yeah, and I want to say something to that. That really, in the surface, you're probably like, oh, that doesn't matter. Look, at Backlash, I was there on Saturday. They had Jay stuff. They had Cena stuff. They had Steve Austin's Blood from a Stone shirt. And then they had a couple Backlash shirts. That's it. That's all they had. So if you're Karrion Kross and you're getting up on that board with that, like that matters. That means something.
They didn't have any Rhea Ripley stuff? Nothing like that?
They did not have any. Well, she wasn't on the card. So
yeah, but neither was Jey Uso.
Neither was Steve Austin. So yeah. So yeah, no, she wasn't. So it was weird, but it just tells you that, like, do good.
There's something there with Karrion Kross. They need they got to capitalize on this sooner rather than later. And I know it might be like it's a huge jump, but man, they've made quicker jumps. They've hopped on other guys who didn't deserve it as much as Karrion Kross has earned it right now with what he's been able to do and the connection that he now has with the audience. This man was dead in the water months ago. Dead in the water, couldn't get a reaction for anything.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared about him. Everybody cares about him now, and they're demanding to see Karrion Kross on their TV screens. Have this man qualify, have him compete in Money in the Bank at the bare minimum. What about the ladies for you?
The ladies for me, it's a one-woman race in my eyes, and that's why I think I didn't have as much to say about this one because if it's me, it's Roxanne Perez. I think that's like such a layup choice where she's working heel, she gets a big win on her resume, which I think she could use on the main roster. And then she could just be the classic heel who's holding it, teasing, blah, blah. I think it just fits. I also think Chelsea Green could fit in a similar vein, albeit with a different tone.
Chelsea is somebody who I actually had fourth on my list. Okay. And that's no knock on her, but I feel like she would be an excellent Miss Money in the Bank contract holder because I feel like she does her best work when she has some kind of an accessory that she can treat as her deity. We saw it with the Women's Tag Team Championship. Yeah. We saw it with the Women's United States Championship. I think she'd be spectacular with it, with the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then ultimately either the World Heavyweight or Women's Championship title down the line. She's doing great work right now in her like sulking and I'm mourning the loss and, flags flying at half staff and continuing to do all of her shtick without having the Women's United States Championship. Eventually, they're going to have to move off of that, though, unless they're going to give the title belt right back to her, which I don't know what they're doing with that right now. But like literally, that's the U.S. title scene right now. Is it's Zelina and Chelsea, so they need to work on that. I have 3 other names ahead of her. I do have Roxanne listed, although I'm incredibly pissed off about what happened on Monday.
I was wondering if this was going to come up or not.
So I swear to God, man, they cut that great promo with her and Julia. This is after we had our conversation last week about how WWE could save the women's tag team division, right? And what was one of the teams that I said? Oh, you could bring up Julia and Roxanne together at the same time.
As an actual team. As an actual team.
They're great. They're awesome together. They showcased that not only with the promo package that they put together, but with that spectacular main event that they had with Rhea and Io Sky on Monday night. And I went to bed a happy guy. I'm like, man, that's a great addition. I wake up the next morning. What happened? They broke up in a damn digital freaking exclusive.
Not even on an actual TV.
Not even on television. They broke up on a digital exclusive at 11 o'clock at night, the day of their debut.
Yeah, I think somebody in WWE had a different opinion about that.
F this place. Anyway, I digress. Roxanne would be a great choice. For me, it's Naomi.
Also
it's
good.
Naomi. All day, every day, twice on Sunday. I think they instantly sowed the seeds with that, with her attacking Tiffany Stratton last week on Raw as a way, or on SmackDown as a way to distract Jade Cargill and keep her away from the title picture. I think Tiffany will beat Nia Jax probably at Saturday night's main event whenever they do fight each other, right? So they'll close that storyline off. Maybe Jade gets a title shot at Money in the Bank, so they do Jade and Tiffany. And then Naomi, as much as I hate this for the women, right, because they do it almost every year, you do Tiffany versus Jade on the show after Naomi has already won the contract, and then you can do Night of Cash In. Naomi is hot with this character right now. I almost feel like you need to feed her the WWE Women's Championship. I just feel like it needs to happen and give her that dominant stretch with the title that she has always needed, even when she like her last run with the title, which was forever and a day ago. Like, do you remember who her like big feud was with when she held the title?
Alexa, Becky?
I think it was just Lana, wasn't it?
Oh my God, I think you're right. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think so.
Wow, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
yikes.
You also brought up the 2 other names on my list right there, Becky and Alexa. I think getting Alexa into the world title picture is badly needed for her and for the Wyatt Six. She's a 5-time women's champion. She hasn't held the belt since Ronda Rousey obliterated her at SummerSlam.
And good just for the women's division in general. Like she's like strong main event depth that you can have. That's just she's not featured that way right now, and she really should be.
Yeah, and Becky, if she's going to be this, you're finally going to feel like what it's like to really be held down by the man, which is such a great arc for her to take everything that the fans have said about her, which have been completely false, and turn it into truth on television now. She's got to win a world championship at some point. So I think you could have Becky Lynch finally win Money in the Bank. That would be a great call as well. There's a lot of options this year. A lot of options.
There really are. All right. One last topic.
Yes.
Real quick answer. Ready?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We mentioned as possible Cena opponents, CM Punk, and we mentioned Cody. We already know that he's getting our truth at Saturday night's main event. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy that sounds. It's happening.
It fits, man. It fits.
It fits. Yeah. It is what it is. It's a good finish to the ongoing saga between those two. If you could pick one name that's not the names you've already mentioned, to wrestle John Cena during this stretch, who are you throwing out there? If you want me to go first, I can.
Yeah, go first. Let me think about it.
I
already spoiled it with Punk.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to say Damian Priest. I think that'd be a cool, like mid-level feud for him, but I think it would elevate Damian. I think it's good to remind people that Damian Priest is like a world title level guy, and he's never worked John Cena. It's fresh, gets good crowd reactions. That's my kind of like wild card pick for sometime this fall.
So the thing that I noticed that they seem to be doing with John, outside of Cody Rhodes, they are starting him down this path of people that he has history with, that he's worked with, but making it new because they're able to break some new ground with it. So Randy Orton, obviously, that was
because he's heel, yeah,
right, and because he's heel. So Randy Orton, no brainer. I think R-Truth, a match for everything that R-Truth has done with him and John, and kind of keeping that whole storyline alive, giving R-Truth a match against John Cena at Saturday night's main event. I have no problem with that. CM Punk seems like a slam dunk. My out of the box choice would be LA Knight.
Oh, good one.
It would be LA Knight. And I say that because this is a guy who is still massively over. He had, and you could attest to this, of the 4 opponents in that United States Championship match in St. Louis this past weekend, he had the biggest reaction of any of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, they beat him. They beat him like a drum in both United States Championship matches that he's had in the last 2 years. But this is a guy who's bulletproof, and he just keeps on coming. And you can play off of what LA Knight and John Cena were able to do when they worked together last time John had that run where LA was really on his big come up, and they had that big tag team match. I think it was at I think I was there. Was that Payback in Pittsburgh, or was that Fastlane in Indianapolis? I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of those two, I think. They had that big tag team match together that they won, and everybody in the press conference was asking Cena questions, and then he was like, "Can somebody please ask LA Knight a question?" I'm like, "Yes, I will gladly ask LA Knight a question." I feel like that was Indianapolis. So yeah, there was there's some history there. I'd love to see LA Knight kind of get that shine. He still won't win, but man, a promo exchange between heel John Cena, who is savage, and LA Knight, who is just savage anyway. Yeah, sign me up for that.
Yeah, that'd be good. I like that pick. And still lots to do with John Cena in the next 6 months.
24 appearances, 24. That's all we got left.
24 more.
They've announced 9 of them. So there's only 15 left that we don't know.
Wow. And you think about SummerSlam. Yeah, I mean it's gonna be over before you know it. So soak it in, people. Soak it in. All right, we'll wrap up there, guys. Make sure to subscribe. Turn on notifications. We got lots of fun stuff dropping. Carmella interview is up there. Rick's got Samoa Joe interview that's up there. We've got an interview with Zach Gowen that's up there. And tomorrow, or I guess today, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Today, Daria Bernardo, formerly known as Sonya Deville, will be up there as well. So lots of fun stuff that you don't want to miss. Check it out right here on the Takedown on SI. Have a good one, guys. See ya.